thank you very much to Vingårds for hosting us here today. It's great to be outside of our premises, and it's also very nice to be considered neighbors. So thank you very much for that. My name is Martin. I work at Media Evolution, and together with 12 colleagues, we host arenas like this for thinking about the now and tomorrow, and together take a glance at the futures that we have. And so we consider ourselves facilitators, moderators, curators, and we have very much a community perspective on everything that we do, and trying to sort of get people like you all together. Today we are hosting a seminar called Coding Cities. And it will be featuring 3 speakers. So with us here is Johan and Jonathan, and through this eye, Violet, who's in Philadelphia. We had announced the 4th speaker, Ingrid Burrington, but unfortunately she had a family emergency, so she had to stay with her family in New York. But we'll figure out a good way to make a tribute to her, because she was going to talk about the physical dimensions of the digital. We'll come back to that in a minute. And we got this curatorial cue from our friends at ÖreDev, which is a big developers conference that is taking place in Malmö in the coming days. They've existed for over 10 years, and we think they're doing great work. And they asked us, hey, can't you do a side event to ÖreDev on the topic of coding cities? And we were like, wow, that's a great topic. So we jumped on that. And one of the reasons why we decided to do that was to, because we are in a big EU finance project, hence the beautiful EU flag, and the croissants are courtesy to the tax that you pay that ends up at the EU and then retrieved back. And so we are part of a new project called DigiThub, which has smart cities as one of its main topics. It's also about digitization in general. And furthermore, this seminar is a continuation of our investigation on what a smart city is. And as some of you might have noticed, our sort of take on that is to talk about the wise city. So that is very much about getting the humans and getting the Earth systems into the picture of talking about futures of cities. And there is this book lying here called Of Stories in Stone. There's plenty of copies over there. Please bring one with you. The book is a result of a collaborative foresight cycle that we conducted in the spring, in which we invited 20 people to together speculate about futures of a wise city. So it features 3 futures that I suggest you read and critique and make use of in your work. And also at the conference this year, which is an event that we organized, we featured a session on wise cities. So in the archive of the conference, there's 3 great talks that you can look into, and I will after this session send you links to all of this so that you can dig into all the content that's already been there. Oh, hey, one more thing. We also hosted during the Malmö in the Making, we hosted a workshop on how to make a city wise. So everything I'm going to say in my introduction that starts in a little bit is informed by input that we got from the community during that morning. So as you all know, cities can be very different, but at a bare minimum, they are a settlement of humans of a notable size. Code is a system of rules to convert information for communications. Coding, the word that we're using for the title of this presentation or this seminar, is the act of designing and implementing algorithms. So it's the process of writing computer programs. And it's how we communicate with computers and tell them what to do. And so it's important to note that technology is made by and used by humans. People design technologies, people employ them, consume them, and regulate them. The technologies we create and use shape who we are, what we do, and how we spend our time. As new technologies are adapted, and adopted, our lives are impacted and our relationships, organizations, and even societies change. And this impact is never the same across the board. So it's an experience that is different between different people in different places of the world. And this is, of course, even more true in this age of late digitization, where the UK Prime Ministers, after a high-level AI safety summit, says things like, "Oh, one of the big outcomes was that we think we tipped the balance in favor of humanity." So it's very much a pivotal moment in time to have the conversations that we're having today. And essentially, it's about sort of maintaining what we want to keep and developing new structures for what we want to have. And at the center of this is our integrity as people. So it's this sort of this continued dialogue between the security we give away against the freedom that we want to have, the surveillance against the freedom, and the societal cohesion versus the individual freedom. And these things are very much a constant negotiation of different people's need and different actors' interests. And one of the main arenas for this negotiation is the cities we live in. And the reason for that is that the scale of the city is very, or at least relatively tangible, and in them we embody the systems that we create. And also, cities very much is an embodiment of the democracies that we want to live in. And so for this sort of negotiation to be possible, it's important that a diversity of actors are included. And for many people and many different people to be involved in a conversation, we need to have a readable system that we can understand, in which we can understand how things are connected, how they operate, and something that is getting increasingly difficult and complex, both in like civil services and technologies. So if you look around this building, the concept of readability is quite easily understood. So for example, if you look at the thing here that holds this building, and on it lies a beam to sort of keep the structure up. So for a human eye, it's quite easy to understand the system of this place. But it's much harder to sort of understand and control an automated ventilation system, for example, than it used to be in like just opening a window. And based on what I just said about the UK Prime Minister's statement from their meeting the other week, I think it's quite terrifying to think about the AI systems that are currently being developed that not even the people developing understands how they work. So the reason why readability in systems are important is that if we can understand how something works, we can also become actors in the system. And the easier something is to read, the more people can participate in the conversation about those systems. And most importantly, we should not forget that it's all made up, All is man-made, and therefore possible to change to the desirable outcomes that we want to achieve.